Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving into a couple of deeply revealing academic papers that basically pull back the curtain on the modern university system. You know, if you spend any time in higher ed, you might think you know how it all operates. But today, we're going to look at the hard data and, frankly, the raw lived experiences of academic staff to uncover a reality that is very rarely discussed in public. Let's get right into it. Now, on the left side of your screen, we've got this popular cultural myth of the academic, right? The privileged scholar in a tweed jacket, comfortably set for life in a cushy tenured position. But then on the right is the stark reality revealed by our source material. We're talking about a system defined by chronic stress, anxiety, and profound exhaustion. So we're going to shatter this myth of the privileged academic and reveal the hidden injuries of what researchers are increasingly calling the modern edu-factory. To really get a handle on this, we'll be synthesizing research from two distinct but deeply connected papers. We're looking at work by Gill and Donaghue on the neoliberal transformation of universities, alongside some incredibly impactful sociological research by Arday. He explores the specific, compounding traumas faced by Black and minority ethnic staff. By bringing these sources together, we can truly understand how systemic pressures are harming the very people holding the whole academic system together. Section 1. The Myth of Privilege. Welcome to the edu-factory. So higher education has really shifted from the traditional university model into this highly neoliberal, marketized system. It's a space where students are essentially redefined as consumers saddled with debt, and universities operate, well, basically like corporate businesses. And the result of that corporatization? Just a staggering level of precarious labor. Look at these numbers. 1/3 of academic staff in the UK are employed on short-term temporary contracts. In Australia, the research estimates that up to 60% of academics are on temporary contracts. The authors argue that this is literally an intellectual and social catastrophe masquerading as flexibility. Secure tenure, it's no longer the norm. Precarity is the new normal. And for those who actually do have the work, the demands are just spiraling completely out of control. Take a look at this number, 9. That represents the extra unpaid hours UK academics work on average every single week. When you do the math, as the researchers point out, that is equivalent to 3 whole months of free labor per year. 3 months. So the so-called autonomy of the academic now essentially just means you have the freedom to work all the time. Evenings, weekends, the whole shebang, just to keep your head above water. Which leads us to a chilling reality captured by Gill and Donaghue. They write, the proximity of ourselves and many of our colleagues to complete physical and mental collapse seems to be the elephant in the room. It's like everyone is near total collapse, but no one officially talks about it. It's confined to whispered conversations in corridors, rather than being addressed head-on in departmental meetings. It is, for all intents and purposes, a conspiracy of silence. Section 2. The Trauma of Racism. Navigating the Inequitable Terrain. Now, this baseline of exhaustion and precarity, it doesn't impact everyone equally. For Black and minority ethnic, or BME staff, there is an entirely separate, compounding layer of crushing pressure, and that is institutional racism. Arday's research highlights that negotiating this inequitable terrain causes profound mental lacerations. It leads to a sociological condition known as racial battle fatigue, or RBF. Now, this isn't just about an isolated incident of bias. It is the cumulative physical and psychological result of a constant, unrelenting race-related stress response. When an environment is steeped in hostile, often covert forms of racism, microaggressions, and hyper-surveillance, it literally erodes the resilience of ethnic minority staff, leading to severe psychophysiological symptoms. Listen to this incredibly raw testimony from a Black female professional in the source material. She says, "Mental illness is a hard thing to accept. I feel that this is a double-inflicted trauma when you are Black." She goes on to explain how cultural expectations often demand this continuous show of strength, while professionally, showing any vulnerability can be weaponized against you. This totally grounds the theory in human reality, showing how cultural expectations and professional judgments just compound the pain. You're battling illness, and you're battling the stigma from multiple sides all at once. You see, the lofty, egalitarian ideals that universities love to espouse directly clash with these deeply exclusionary daily cultures. BME staff report intense hyper-surveillance where their capabilities are constantly being questioned. And when they do seek help, their experiences of racism are frequently trivialized by culturally blind healthcare staff. It forces them to hide their struggles out of a very real fear of being labeled as deficient by their colleagues. Moving on to Section 3, Flawed Individualized Solutions, Band-Aids for Bullet Wounds. So how exactly do institutions respond to these dual-crushing forces of casualization and daily trauma? Well, not by fixing the system, but by trying to fix the individual. And it creates this profound absurdity, as you can see here. To treat the systemic cause of precarious temporary contracts, staff are offered time management apps. To address 9+ hours of unpaid overtime, they're offered mindfulness and yoga sessions. And to combat institutional racism and racial battle fatigue, they are given culturally blind resilience training. The researchers call these technologies of the self. Basically, individualized tools offered up to treat massive systemic structural problems. And this individualized approach is particularly damaging for ethnic minority staff. As one respondent noted, having to self-censor for fear of upsetting white healthcare professionals is mental, taxing, and exhausting. Imagine that. When a BME staff member seeks counseling for racial trauma, but the counselor lacks cultural cognizance or exhibits white fragility, the staff member ends up having to manage the feelings of the counselor. Culturally blind counseling literally becomes a source of re-traumatization rather than healing. Which brings us to this really crucial concept, reluctant individualism. By pushing apps, yoga, and resilience training, the institution forces the burden of coping entirely onto the shoulders of the individual. If you're stressed, if you're experiencing a breakdown due to a toxic, racist, or severely overworked environment, the institutional logic implies that, well, you just aren't resilient enough, you just aren't managing your time well enough. It turns a massive structural failure into a personal failure, leaving the actual toxic system completely untouched.
Section 4. Need for systemic change. Curing the structural disease.
Both sets of researchers make it explicitly clear. We cannot simply app or meditate our way out of this mental health catastrophe. We need resolutions that dismantle the structures causing the harm in the very first place. Step 1. A true systemic overhaul. That means dismantling the precarious, hyper-competitive labor models that define academic capitalism. Step 2. Universities must aggressively diversify their pastoral and healthcare professional cohorts. Staff of color need to be able to see providers who actually understand their lived experiences. And Step 3. Implement contextually appropriate psychological interventions. Treatments that recognize racism as a legitimate, devastating trauma rather than just trivializing it. Ultimately, we must fundamentally shift our perspective here. On the left side, we have the current model, managing the symptoms. This is where universities offer coping mechanisms that basically just silence the actual problems. But on the right is what the research demands, treating the disease. And this means addressing the root causes of the neoliberal edufactory and the historical institutional racism that is baked into the academy. It's about achieving true equity, not just better stress management. I'll leave you with this provocative final thought from our explainer today. The next time you engage with the modern higher education system, whether you're a student, a staff member, or just an observer, try to look past the prestige and ask yourself, are universities treating the system, or are they just silencing the symptoms? Thank you so much for joining me, and keep questioning the structures around you.